And I, like I'm here and my fucking heart rate's racing and shit while I'm playing because I haven't done this in a while. And that's true for both streaming and for playing. So, like evidence that I'm not a robot is my heart rate racing when I play poker. So, got a fold there, unfortunately. Raise 3-4, we'll fold. Boom! Take it. Four bet pre, lose the pot. Like, win it pre, but don't get that triple. That was nice. That was nice. So, I mean, like, unfortunately, I have a lot of air here. And this is the air that gets bluffed because I don't block shit, so. Bang! What's up, Sun God? What's going on, man? You guys are very sweet. Thank you. Appreciate everybody welcoming me back. Marco, what's up? I mean, like, I have 5 BBs. Not my strong suit, but this seems good. I'll take King Deuce. Take my A7 against King Deuce. That's pretty good. So we opened this up and got flatted twice. If this player jammed, probably would have had to call. I don't think we should see bet here. I think we can take this opportunity to bet though. I'm gonna get jammed on by this player sometimes, but that's okay. It's a pretty high frequency lead turn. It might be high enough to lead this, but this is like the last hand I want to lead, so. I think it gets close after. I think this gets close after I check the turn because I have such a high frequency lead with the 4x block. It's a pretty bad river. My range is like super dense 7x there, but like his range is probably dense Jack X as well for bluffing, so it's not the greatest river. Oh shit! I thought that I was heads up with the big blind. I don't think it matters that much, like because the king high board, which is actually one of the better boards for me. So I actually really don't like not having a diamond in my hand, and I thought about that and like the decision to check versus bet as a result of not having a diamond in my hand. But I bet anyways because of how economic it was. So this went check check flop. I didn't actually bet the flop here. Obviously, I have a lot of ace-x in this range, so I don't really have any like reason to call the river. But it's an interesting turn bet, but we'll take it. When is the next intermediate poker systems dropping? There will be another one because everybody likes it so much. So I'll do another one. So I appreciate everybody that's gotten it and likes it. But yeah, it's popular enough to do it again. It's definitely been my focus over the last like year and a half, maybe 2 years even. It's just been trying to get better and better at teaching Chippy V. Have I been missing grinding at least a little bit? It just doesn't really work very well for my life. Like tournaments are hard to make. Not that they're impossible, but there are easier ways to build a life than tournaments. Like teaching. So like the actual game itself, do I miss it? Yeah, sure. I've played a lot of it, but I don't. So I'm okay. But I mean, I miss it a little bit. But you know, like I teach something like 20 to 30 hours a week for the most part. And then I run BBZ, which is like not that intense or anything. It's not like, you know, it's not like it's really hard, but it's like, you know, 10 to 15 hours maybe between like talking to all the different coaches and figuring out like lining up products and occasionally talking to lawyers and dealing with like business audits and, you know, business stuff. And that's like a pretty good life. I also manage my own money, which some of you know. So I oversee my own portfolio. I haven't delegated that to somebody else. And again, that's not, you know, like, that's not, most of the time, that's not like, you know, 80 hours a week or anything, but it's like, you know, another 10 to 15 hours a week on average to like, you know, keep up to date with everything and make sure that I'm comfortable with how my financial portfolio is positioned. And so like you're at 50 hours a week, you know, 20 to 30, 10 to 15, 10 to 15. It's pretty solid amount of output already. player's, you know, over a limited sample, this player likes to open, so. Or not that this is like some crazy jam, but in the flat versus call consideration, I think we don't flat against the players that open a little wider. We just do this. Damn. This looks pretty standard, I think. I limped at this stack depth and then tripled it off against a small blind complete, where the small blind complete could be coming in from a wide range. Obviously, whenever we're two pair, it becomes a little easier. Jordan, I have a few bundles and I'm starting seriously studying after Scoop. Have you considered making a lifestyle guide for pro tournament players? I haven't thought about it. We do have like a mental game bundle, but as far as like a lifestyle guide, what would you be looking for? Maybe you can actually go to the BBZ Discord, because I'm gonna be exhausted after this is over and I'm not gonna remember. So if you go to the Discord, that's probably ideal for. I don't think we do anything there at all. I'm trying to think about how to answer this guy's question at the same time. I'm trying to give you a link, but I haven't logged in Twitch in a long time and it's causing me some problems. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. Ape Styles wants me to learn the WSOP games specifically as well. He thinks there's a lot of money there and he wants me to start studying that specific format with him, which is something I'm thinking about doing. Go find us some more music somewhere else. We just barrel here. I don't really love having hearts, to be honest with you, but I think we still barrel. Trying to find music. Yeah, I'd rather see some other stuff than this. That's fun. Pretty sure my mouse just died. Which is okay. Yeah, it's dead. We're gonna fold a couple hands. It's okay. Sorry guys, just dealing with this mouse thing still. I have a mouse, which is good, but put the other one on the charger. Don't think I really do much here in this format, especially against that position. Sort of interesting to think about sizing there. Also got to add a couple tables, I think. Trick is like, how many do I want to add? Add this 530. That looks like fun. That might be the last one that I add. That looks like fun though. Okay, back to the stream. Technical difficulties and shit. Jordan, do you drink coffee for work? I drink coffee in general, but I don't drink coffee, like I don't drink caffeine after like 12:30 p.m., 1 p.m. Fuck me, I don't have music. There we go. Yeah, so I drink coffee, but and I drink caffeine, but I try not to drink it after like 12 p.m. or so. And I don't drink like a lot of it in the morning. Like if I go to Starbucks, for example, like I'm gonna get a tall, right? Like not something. I'm gonna get like overloaded on caffeine. But you know, sometimes I have a lot of clients in Europe, and so there's a lot of demand for my time at like 6 o'clock in the morning, unfortunately. And like that's the most in-demand slot for me is 6 a.m. It's just the best time for them. So that means getting up at like 5 a.m. and like that's fine. But like my daughter is 6, she's almost 7, and she's getting to the point where she likes to stay up until like 9:30. So she's actually just getting to the point really where she needs less sleep. Like she needs like 8.5 hours. So the problem is if she goes to bed at like 9:30 and I want to spend time with my wife, then that means I'm going to bed at 11. And that's a problem if I have to get up at 5, because that's not enough sleep for humans. So on a long-term basis, it's problematic. So like, you know, if I do, I don't know, like 5 of those days in a row where I'm like getting 5.5, 6 hours of sleep, if I teleport to sleep when I go to bed and then wake up when I need to wake up, then I'm getting like 6 hours of sleep max. And if I'm getting a bad night of sleep, then it's worse. So this 5's like not a total blank. It's kind of a blank, but it actually interacts with some parts of the bottom of my range. It actually makes me feel okay bluffing with this. Like obviously I have low end clubs, but clubs and, you know, king 10 high are probably somewhat competitive because clubs suck too. And then like obviously I lose my 6-7s, my 5-6s, my 7-5s as bluffs. So you know, like it's not the worst spot to bluff with king 10. You want to do all of it? No, but I wouldn't bluff with king 10 with the club. So can't really do anything. If the positions were different, I think I could do more. But I think with these positions, you can't really do anything. If it was just the button, we could do a lot, but can't do anything there really. 30 BBs. I don't hate checking with the jack of hearts there either. I think it's close. What do you think about the DraftGangers min bet and 69 strat? I mean, he's having fun. I think that like as long as you're like smart and competent, which he's both of those, and having a good time, like good for you. He's been doing this a long time, right? Like he was in Poker when I was an investor in Poker, like a seed investor in Poker. So, like, he's been around a long time, man. And you like at the end of the day, like you want to have fun with what you're doing. So. Do I think it's like, do I think it's like the optimal strategy? No, but like, I don't know the details of it, to be honest with you. So I don't know exactly how he's doing it. But I doubt that he thinks it's the optimal strategy. I'm sure that he thinks he's like sacrificing a modest amount of BB to have fun. And I'm fine with it. Like, I think it's a fine idea. Like, a lot of us have been doing this for a while now. He's one of them. I've been doing it longer than he has, I think, but he's been doing it for a while. So making sure that you can have fun is important. It's long grinds, long hours for what he's doing, streaming. Just, I think it's easy to like sort of like lose sight of that component of it. Is what you're doing actually fun? He's probably doing fine financially. So, if you're doing fine financially, have a good time. Just going to peel here. Closing the action. Hope to rip a set. Make my life easy. Sad face. That's pretty interesting. This would be, strictly speaking, a bluff. But I think bluffing here is actually sort of interesting. I obviously have perfect set coverage when you look at my hand. But I don't actually want to bluff with like hands that don't have outs. So I don't, against like queens. So I don't really want to bluff as much with like Jack 10 or Queen Jack. I also don't really want to block Ace Queen. So it might be better to do that, but I'm not sure that it is better to do that. And when this player checks twice that quickly, I expect this player to have a high check fold percentage, and they did. I bet this player raised, this player folded. And like when this player checked back the flop, I was expecting to like run into like queens a lot, jacks a lot, tens a lot, which like I was gonna triple like a decent amount of runouts, and then I was expecting to run into like, a set sometimes, I guess. I expected to run into like some bullshit hand, like, decent amount of time too. So I don't know. It's not like my normal way of bluffing, but I thought that in that situation, like it made sense to bluff with more of like the medium strength component, or at least it was competitive. I thought that bluffing with the medium strength component was competitive compared to not. So like we're just gonna punt this in because like we have seven big blinds or 6 big blinds or something, and we don't care about that. So we're gonna be just gambling. So we c-bet here, which is pretty standard. We're gonna call 2-bet here, which is annoying, but what are you gonna do? Hand's been devalued now. I think it's like a decent situation for me to There we go. There we go. Feel good about that. So my range gets strengthened like pretty dramatically on a club turn after I call a check raise on the flop. My range gets like filled up with flushes basically. I can probably bet fold one pair without a club on the flop, so I can bet fold probably like hands like Queen 10 or something of diamonds. Like I can probably bet fold flop there. So like it doesn't mean that I don't have any air, but it means that like small betting that hand is not like unreasonable. Gives me boats on the river. It's nice. How did you learn to manage your own portfolio? I actually like this, by the way, this playlist, so I'm gonna save this. This like song playlist. This is good. Yeah, I knew it was gonna do that. I knew I was gonna lose it, but I didn't care because I'm on the BBZ YouTube channel. I don't want to be because then I'm not gonna save it to my playlist. It's my personal ones. I don't mind. This playlist is good, so let's do it all again. It's fine with me. Yeah, that's good. Save it to those three. Okay, so yeah, so there was a question like, how do you learn to manage your own portfolio? Zero Sum, what's up? Like poker's like a pretty autodidactic like you have to teach yourself in poker, right? Like no one's teaching me, like most of the time, no one's teaching me the strategies. Like sometimes I'll definitely consume a lot of content. So if I'm gonna go into a new format, for example, or a format that I just haven't put the work in yet, I'll go watch like everything that I know is good. So that'll be like if I was to try to like, you know, get really good at PKOs, which I'm not. Like I'm not really good at PKOs. So if I was to try to go get really good at PKOs, for example, I would watch all the content about it first, and then I would go play with the models. So maybe that size should have been bigger. I should have thought about that more. I was talking. But yeah, I would go watch all the content about it, right? And then I would go do all the work on my own. And then like if I after like a certain number of hours of doing all the work on my own, I would expect to be like pretty elite after like a period of time. And like investing is learning how to manage a portfolio or whatever is like the same thing. You go find all the people that are the best at it, consume all the content that they've produced, like books, right? All the books that they've produced, all the interviews they've done, and then go get the textbooks that surround the area, and then read them all, and then do the thing and make mistakes and get good at it. And what's like, you know, and like the consequences are obviously that you'll, you know, like it's a lot of money. Like, you know, fucking up is really expensive. But, you know, in my opinion, like the genesis for doing it yourself is basically, is this like low margin work or high margin work, right? Like if, like I don't want to, like I'm trying to talk and it's hard with music sometimes. Like if I'm trying to, this is going to be a fucking awkward spot too. I don't know if that's the best answer. Oh, we're flipping. It's a good start. Come on. Damn. It's not a good finish. Started off okay. Did not end well. Sorry. Too many spots. I think we're just calling in this one. Oh yeah, we had a ace-jack suited there. We covered the guy that called with the tens as well. So that was actually pretty good. That's pretty good. Like obviously the outcome sucked where we lost, but running it in a PKO with as a flip with covering the opponent, that's pretty good. So I don't know what to do here. Is still an open jam in this format? You have less fold equity. This raise fold. Am I supposed to limp? I don't fucking know. I don't know. We'll just jam. Sad face. We're dead. Oop, we're not dead. We're dead. Yeah, we're gonna bet here. Pretty standard spot to bet. I get a lot of protection, get a lot of value, so it's usually a good recipe for betting. Barreling is a little less obvious. I think I lose to a lot. That's a pretty good river. It's basically a blank when I have 2/8s. I don't think this player has 8-9 offsuit or anything, so like they have 9/8 suited, so that's not really much of a problem. That's really tempting. It's like a pretty interesting. I feel like I'm opening myself up to being jammed on. But I think it takes a pretty sophisticated player to do that. I can't call it this because I don't block sets. Yay! We picked up the bet. So I mean, like that wouldn't be so like you'd be like, you know, I think that it's easy to look at that bet and be like, dude, that's standard. Why are you excited about that? But well, the thing that made that not standard was that started off as a 3-handed spot, right? Like that didn't start off multi-way. Or sorry, that didn't start off heads up. We started off 3 ways. So to the flop, right? So we started off like this, right? 3 ways to the flop, which made that whole thing more complicated. Like it's not. Like I've studied a lot of multi-way post-flop sims and things, and like I have a pretty, like I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at that in chips. But that's definitely still one of the thinner bets you can make, I would say. To try to pull 2 streets out of pocket 8s in a 3-way pot when you get a call from the UTG player who was sandwiched to begin with. That starts to get pretty thin, I would say. That starts to get pretty thin. So, yeah, I'm happy that it worked out. I know I was talking about like, you know, managing my own portfolio, but it's just the same. It's the same thing with everything, right? You just like find all the best people, consume all their content, find the textbooks that drive the thing, like whatever the most respected books are. Go find textbooks and things. Read a few of those. I took some classes on accounting specifically, and then like I found like taking classes on accounting to be like sort of inefficient. Because like basically what happened was I went home and then like I read the textbook and then like governed the class, and I read the textbook in it's like a 6-month class, and then like another 6 months like after that, and I did both, but then I just found that I finished the textbooks in like the first 2 months of the class or something, like 2 of the first like 4, maybe it's a 4-month class, and I finished the textbook in like the first like month and a half, 2 months, and so then I just got the next, and like I did fine on the test, and I didn't really feel like the class gave me much, so I just got the textbooks for the next 2 years and just read them on my own. I feel like the classroom style, that like a big part of it's like accountability, right? Like, so you know, you have to go to class, and then they're going to give you a test, right? And what's the purpose of the test? The purpose of the test is to make sure that you actually did the material, right? So if there's no job at the end, right? Like I'm not going to get hired by somebody, okay? So I don't need a credential that says I did the thing, right? I don't need that. So what I need is a skill set. So and I actually want the skill set. I don't want to pretend like I have the skill set. I actually want to know how to do the thing I need to know how to do. So I don't feel like the actual classroom part adds very much value. So I could be wrong. Maybe I'm overlooking something, but I just don't feel, and like, you know, teachers would be upset, right? But I think that if you're like talking about teaching a 6-year-old, like a big part of it is probably keeping them accountable, because like it's hard to keep 6-year-olds accountable to like learning the thing, and it's probably hard to keep, you know, adults accountable because adults want to cheat. But again, if you actually like for the reasons that I was there, which was like, you know, I wanted to learn how to manage my own money, and I wanted to make sure that I had a sophisticated knowledge of accounting. Did this thing freeze? It looks like my stream froze. Fuck. Oh, maybe it didn't. No, it didn't freeze. Okay, cool. I think I had a table in front of the. What is that? Oh, that's a fucking replayer. I had a replayer in front of the stream. Yeah, and it distracted me. So, anyways, that's how I view it. So that's how I think about doing things. So, poker, same thing. Investing, same thing. What else do I tell myself how to do? There's other things. I had to teach myself math. I had to teach myself math. So I didn't really know like probability or like I wasn't very good with probability theory or like statistics. And I don't think I want to flat this year. So I went to Khan Academy, and Khan Academy has like free courses, and I just took them for math. I started in like grade 4 because I wanted to make sure that I knew everything. So I started in grade 4 and then went up through like statistics and probability. I don't know. You just fucking teach yourself shit. So there's no straights possible, so I don't really want to donk bet here. If we had some straights possible, it would be perfect, but there aren't any. So we won't lead, and calling's the play. Sort of complicated because I cover in a PKO, so maybe it's not the play. I'm not really positive, but don't mind the float. It's obviously not the flop I was looking for. Or turn I was looking for. I think I can float this against this size, so we're going to call again. You could raise too. I think raising's like got merit, but we're going to go with the large size here. Damn, got the check on the river, which is not what we wanted. That was not what we wanted. But our opponent was bluffing with king 10, so we had a bunch of outs there. Large c-bet takes it down there. Can't peel that. Yep. So I've got like kind of perfect for suits. I don't really want to check raise this hand, but I kind of feel like it's not the worst thing in the world. Obviously, positionally, this blows. I kind of feel like I'm supposed to do this. I don't really like it considering the positions, but doesn't feel like the worst play. Yay. This gets awkward pretty fast. Okay, never mind. Hey, that's a pretty good spot. I'll take that. Sweet. Okay, well, I don't really have any chips, so hopefully I get a bunch after this hand. That'd be nice. All right, so someone asked, like, what are we looking for in Academy? Well, first things first. Oh, that's a good flop for someone who's looking to pick up some chips. We're looking for someone in the BBZ Discord. So, yeah. So I would say join the BBZ Discord. That's the first part. Second, you can ask questions in the BBZ Discord of like what we're looking for. Generally speaking, it's more like mid stakes focused. Like Academy is more like low to mid stakes focus. Definitely low stakes focus too. So like low to mid stakes focus, but not high stakes. Okay, not high stakes. I'm not like directly managing the high stakes guys anymore, so there's less of it. But we're still very much scaled at like low to mid stakes, and people still climb and stuff. But I think in total, like across low to mid stakes, across everything that we're doing, it's still probably it's a good flop. We're still probably in the range of having how many people do we stake? It's probably like 130 or 140 people or something in total. This is still going on. That's not a good river considering this was still going on. I think one of these two guys is gonna have a flush a lot. We had such a good hand. So we still have a good hand. We could still win, but I think that like we could definitely lose. Yeah, this guy's gonna jam. He's gonna table. If he had a medium strength hand, he would check, and I guess he could have clubs and be bluffing. So that's not good when he bets. Either he's got bullshit, or he's, which I don't think is very likely, or we lose. I don't think there's a lot of thin value there. Hey, how's it going? I am in it, sort of. So that's sort of interesting, right? Like, this guy donk bet, I called. This guy squeezes. I think we call. I think we check fold now. I think there's like very reasonable I'm dead risk when we get squeezed here. Yeah, I mean it's cheap, but I don't think it's not an ace high flush draw either, right? Like my straight draw is not necessarily clean. My flush draw is not clean. It's a great price. So it's like a big hand to fold to that price, but I think that the range is strong enough to squeeze the flop there. That and also like light overpairs enough, so like more dense the boats that it's probably fine to release. Was that what I have given up on the check raise with the king 5, king of diamonds? If there was no diamond on the turn, yeah. On the turn, I would give up, yeah. Unless I picked up a gut shot. So if I had totally blanked the turn, I would have been done. But I could reopen on the river. I could come back in on the river, like depending on what the river is. So. But yeah, so Academy is looking for like mostly low to mid stakes players, people who have a lot of time to grind. Like that's the most important thing. People that have a lot of time to grind. People that want to get better. People that like learning from us, the way that we teach the game. So like less kind of like MDA. We don't do mass database analysis because I think it's cheating. So I don't do it. But people that don't want to, like my students, my coaches in that like are more hands-on in Academy. they like take my approach basically, right? So to teaching the game. So if you like the way that we we think about poker, the way that we teach poker, the way that we study it, then like that's important. Student mentality is important, volume, time, right? Like it's really hard to make staking work if someone can play like 1 day a week. It's just really hard to make it work. Because if they lose, like it's hard to invest resources into them to help them to start winning, because you just don't get paid enough to invest the resources. Like it's hard to do a lot of hands-on coaching with someone to try to help fix a downswing if they're going to play 1 day a week. It just doesn't work. So yeah, I'd say that's a big part of it. Yeah, I can't remember, like, because I bounce around so much when I'm streaming. And I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you guys. Like my resting heart rate's like 38 to 42, and my heart rate right now doing nothing is 80. So just like I haven't played poker in a while. I'm not even playing super high stakes, but I haven't played poker in a while and I haven't streamed in a while. And I'm like running a little jittery. It's not caffeine, but like just sitting here talking about it, my heart rate's going up. So yeah, like this is I just haven't played in a while, so I'm just doing something I haven't done in a while. Haven't gambled even at these limits, which are not really high limits. You know, I used to play like 30, 40K sessions and I was fine. But I just haven't played a lot. I've been doing a lot of teaching, and I haven't streamed a lot, obviously. Certainly haven't streamed and played at the same time for a while. So my trains of thought are going to bounce around a lot because I haven't done this in a while. I'm stressed. A little more stressed than usual. Just saw this post from Broomba that Simple Poker Systems was the best poker training ever, and this person's bought a few. I appreciate that, Broomba, so thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't see all you guys talking about this. Halfway through the Simple Systems bundle and can clearly see improvement. Well, that's good. Thank you. I'm happy about that. That's awesome. Yeah, so I mean, as far as the Simple Systems bundle goes, like I've been doing, which is new, right? So after I stopped streaming, I started doing like private CFPs with people because there was demand from people. I didn't even ask, but people asked me. They were just like, hey, I would like you to coach me for a year. What would that cost? And I didn't have a system for doing it. I was like, what do you know, like we had a CFP program, but it was mostly like just a cheaper way to get access to the seminars at first, because I was trying to run everything at scale because I was just too busy and I was just doing too many things. And streaming took up a lot of time when I was streaming full time. But then once I stopped streaming, obviously my schedule opened up a little bit, and yeah, people wanted me to coach them like full time for a year, like once a week for a year. So even with my horses, I'd never really had relationships like that, right? Because the horse relationships are more like when it comes to staking, it's more like get a bunch of players, stake them, and then get them enrolled in a program that gets them better over time, which was, we had seminars for our horses before we sold seminars publicly. So that was the seminar program that you guys can now buy for $75 a month. That was like just private, but it was just for all of our horses. And then everybody has access to that, and so everybody keeps getting better over time. And then when someone like loses a bunch of money and it gets critical, then I step in and I start coaching that player. I improve the strategy. So like the proactive part is the seminars for the staking groups. That's the business model that I had before. The proactive part was the staking groups, and then the reactive part was when people would lose, right? And then it becomes reactive, and we go in and I go in and I try to fix it. And so I hadn't really had people that I was like, where it was like one guy and I'm just coaching that guy very regularly for, like 12 months or something. Like we just didn't really have that in place. I don't know the PKO answer here. I'm not a PKO specialist at all. So this might just be like shove my whole range. I thought about shoving this hand. This player's opening like enough that I think that's reasonable. It might be flat with your whole range too. I'm not really sure. This is like pretty gross now. This player's range is weak enough that this could be wider, but I kind of doubt that it is. Price is good. This one covers me. Seems really close. I don't know. Raise 3, 4. Sad face. How do Academy and staking differ? No, Academy and staking are the same thing, but Academy is like just a slightly more advanced version. We've gotten better at it over time. But Academy and staking are the same thing. We've just gotten better. We've gotten more proactive about improving players and having people coach them sooner. And there's just more. There are more layers now. But I built the staking business on my own at first, and I was doing it all the time. And I just had limits on my time, so it was hard to be like proactive with coaching everyone. It's way easier to be, it's scaled better to be reactive, right? Like ideally you'd be proactive. You just be like, okay, I'm just gonna coach everyone all the time, right? That'd be great. The problem is I don't have enough time. Like if you have 100 horses, you don't have enough time to coach everyone all the time. Like you just, you coach everyone once a week, that's 100 hours. So that's impossible. So you have to build a different system. I mean, I guess it's like based on the constraints you have, right? Where the constraint is my time. So that was, when I was building it, that's how it looked. And like, now it's, it's different. So we have like more coaches other than me. And what's my biggest poker achievement? I don't know if I think about it in achievements. If you ask me like, playing the game, I mean, I won the 5K on Party Poker and I took second in the 5K on Party Poker and I final tabled the 10K on Party Poker. So in terms of achievements, like that are online, I did very well on Party. Right now, unfortunately, Party Poker has reset all my stats, so you guys don't know that. If you look me up, I don't think that any of those results are there at all. But if you go to the YouTube channel, they are. So fortunately, streaming has immortalized them. They definitely happened. But as far as like playing poker goes, like those would be like the big, right? But I wouldn't necessarily say that those are like my main achievements. My main achievements were like being one of the most competitive regulars in the game at high stakes 6-max hypers. So those games ran up to I think we turn this into a bluff on this card. I don't think we want to bluff with the ace of clubs here. This is sort of annoying to have a hand like this and not really feel like you can do anything with it. I feel like it's like too weak to do everything. So I'll get this SPR when I'm covered in the PKO format. It feels like the best answer is folding, which blows. Yay, we win that one. That's cool. But yeah, so like 6-max hypers, that was the sort of like, in terms of like the energy that I was putting into poker, that represents, I think, like sort of like the peak of the energy that I was both putting into it and getting out of it. So I would say I'm like most proud of being like one of the most competitive players in that format. So like Parker was playing, I was playing, Ben CB was playing, Connor Beresford was playing. Like there were a bunch of guys playing, and guys that don't exist anymore. A Weiss, who like went on to be a crypto 100 millionaire, was playing. Moldy Onions was playing. River Prayer was playing. Like those guys, you guys probably don't know those names. But that was, like I was playing a lot. I was playing all the time. Competing at the highest stakes games that ran in that format. Yeah, one of the biggest winners. I mean, I got hired by A Weiss to help him to understand his own strategy better. And I was playing against him, but he helped me with some things, and I helped him with some things. So, but yeah, he hired me because I had the highest win rate against him of anyone in the. I mean, he was playing all the time, and I just had the highest win rate against him of anyone that was competing. And so he's like, I don't care what it costs. I just want to know what you're doing to beat me. If you don't care what it costs, I'll tell you. So yeah, it's a good starting point. If someone says I don't care what it costs, it's like, okay, let's talk. This is another shitty spot. I don't really know that I can do anything. Like, am I supposed to jam? Doesn't seem good. Am I supposed to call? Doesn't seem very good either. Should I fold? It doesn't seem good. I think I'm gonna fold, but I don't think that I have very good EV anywhere. This seems really close between call and fold as well. I think we're gonna be calling here, but I don't think it's very good. Kind of tempting to like at least think about the idea of building a leading range here, but I don't think I would do it. I don't think this is the hand to start putting bets in with here. I think we just like hope he's willing to check down ace queen. I'm obviously doing better against the checking range than I am against the betting range. On the flop. Hey, look. He had ace queen, guys. I 3-bet pretty sure that we're supposed to bet with the club and check without the club. Obviously not a lot of 6x in the opponent's range. I would say that's a good river. I don't think positionally betting a bunch is going to be the play here. This guy is going to jam some ace-high flushes here, which will suck. There's probably not a lot of bluffs. The question is, like, would he jam queen jack of hearts if I get jammed on? It's nice when I don't get jammed on. This player has a wider range, so I feel better if this player jams. Yeah, Slayer V1 fan was one of the guys that was Slayer V1, Bert Stair. Slayer V1 and Bert, I think, were like a team in some capacity. Like they were studying together, and Bert was one of the best. Sahakis 14 was one of the best. There's some good guys. This is close between raise and limp, I think. And this is close between c-bet and check. Kind of like checking with the queen of spades, to be honest, but I'm a human, I'm greedy like everybody else. Probably just gonna be check folding. I don't think we're gonna be doing much there. $20 ABI, right? Like, I'm not gonna get called in for that. Some guy loses 750 buy-ins. I'm not getting a message from anyone on the team, right? If I didn't even look at that guy's KO, that's actually pretty big. I should have thought about that. I don't think I would have called, but I should have thought about it. You just see the hand sometimes and press fold. Didn't think about the format. But yeah. Would I go in personally to try and fix a low stakes guy if he lost a bunch of money? Yes, I would. Even now, I would. The team, if they decide, like they understand today, like how, like what my priorities are and how I think about things, and if they, like Jay, hold it, John, if he decides with Jake and Zach, if they decide like, Jordan, you need to like look at this guy, okay. I'm not gonna like fight them on it. Like if they say, Jordan, you need to do this, I say, okay. I just do what I'm told. Everybody knows how to think about my time. And yeah, in the past, but like, you know, so realistically though speaking, right, like I'm not gonna get called in because some guy loses, you know, 15K at a, if I get called in for something like that, he probably owes us like 100,000, and we just believe in, you know, like they just believed in his skill set and they kept trying to do certain things. They kept trying to work with him. Maybe it's one of the guys that's actually better, right? Like he's got a lower ABI, but he's actually already better than some of the coaches that we have in academy, or he's getting competitive with some of the coaches in academy, and they just can't find anything meaningful and they feel like they've exhausted everything. Then, like, you know, they'll be like, Jordan, we need you to do it. I'm like, okay. Now that's not really going to happen very often, right? But that's the point. If I have to get called in every day, then like we're doing something wrong. We got to build a different system. How many hours or games per week are you looking for in your academy members? I mean, like you just have to be playing. The more, the better. But I mean, like if you're playing 3+ days a week, you should apply. If you're playing like 1 or 2 days a week, you probably shouldn't apply. It probably is a waste of time if you're playing 1 or 2 days a week. But if you're playing 3+, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? The more, the better. More is better, but we'll at least look at it if you're playing like 3. You're probably going to get like an automated response. So basically, if you say, hey, I'm playing like 1 day a week, will you guys work with me? They'll probably be like, no. But you can have a bunch of other stuff that you include that you, when you apply or whatever, and you try to talk to them, they'll be like, bro, if you're playing 1 day a week, this doesn't work. But if you're playing like 3 or more, then yeah, go ahead. So yeah, so like from a backer's perspective, neurodivergence isn't really like a huge issue as long as, like, I can handle like a pretty wide range of emotions. I don't have a lot of emotions, so my wife thinks I'm a robot. My friends think I'm a robot. I get called a robot. I'm not a robot. I'm a person, but I get called a robot a lot. So and I, you know, like I'm here and my fucking heart rate's racing and shit while I'm playing because I haven't done this in a while, and that's true for both streaming and for playing. So, you know, like evidence that I'm not a robot is my heart rate racing when I play poker. So, but yeah, so like if, you know, someone freaks out every once in a while, but then like apologizes later and just like, you know, understands things longer term, then it's okay. But if, and I don't need the apology from like an ego perspective, it's more like if they don't apologize, then that usually is a recognition that they don't think they did something wrong. And if they don't think they did something wrong, that's more of a different kind of issue. But yeah, I mean, as far as like I've lived with people that have issues. I've lived with people that were drug addicts, which is not fun, especially when you're already wealthy. So I beat a lot of bluffs. The 9's not a great card, though. Should probably just fold this and try to call something cleaner. So yeah, yeah, like if you can obsess about something and get like really into it, that's like helpful for being good at poker. If you're like emotionally unstable when you're playing, that's not really good with poker. So depends on how like easy you are to be set off, and that's true that's like true for everybody. It doesn't, you know, it's just not a helpful thing. It's just not helpful. And that doesn't mean you're anything. Just it's just not helpful. You get super emotional about stuff. That's sort of a big bet. That's not good. I don't know if this hand's worth much in any of my options here. I don't know. Like four ways. This hand's like, I think these guys are playing this spot incorrectly for what it's worth. So my hands, I do think my hand's worth more money than it's supposed to be. See, that guy folded a king too. Like I do think my hand's worth more money than it's probably supposed to be, because I think that the ranges are probably off. But I don't know if that means it's worth enough to be like trying to call down there. And I could squeeze it as a bluff, and I thought about that too. I almost feel like I'd rather squeeze a weaker hand as a bluff. Because the king kicker is like sort of probably a big part of like whatever makes the bottom of those ranges. Or sorry, the queen kicker is probably what makes up the bottom of those ranges, like queen jacks that might bluff, ace queens that might call, ace queens that might bluff. So I'd rather bluff out with like king 10 suited or something, I think, but I'm not sure about that either. So it just seemed close. It seemed close. I think calling's basically overrated. So I think I'd rather bet the flop with like 1 overcard to a 7, something like that. Seems better. How do you think AI is going to have an effect on the game? AI already has an effect on the game. We're all using it to study. Right? There's a program, Ruse, GTO Wizard. They have an AI. We already use it. You know, it's just another evolution in the game. Just going to make it easier to study, easier to understand things. I understand a lot more now because of the development of Ruse, which I continue to call it so that people understand the difference kind of between Ruse and GTO Wizard, even though GTO Wizard owns Ruse now. But yeah, Ruse is, my ears are always itchy from like a little bit of cauliflower. It's not much, but it's like, I don't know how those guys who have like concrete ears, I don't know how they do it. Shit's itchy. Like I said, I have like a little bit of calcification like right here, and it's just itchy all the time. We're up here now. We're gonna check fold the flop though. Nothing interesting. So yeah, like, you know, you can run experiments like way faster, right? So you can just learn stuff way quicker, which is great. You know, you can run custom bet sizing strategies. You can see what happens when someone range checks in a situation where they're supposed to range bet. You can see what happens when, you know, you can experiment faster, right? Because yeah, the compute is just better and the solutions are really good, and it's actually close. Should probably call. Like queen 8 suited is snap, and then queen 7 and queen 6 are. Queen 7 is probably a snap too, and queen 6 is probably close. Yay! We won money. That's good. Picked up some chips. Yeah, we use it all the time in BBZ Poker and the seminars and stuff. No choice. Wow, the king queen check fold. I mean, like that was a half pot bet, and a call, and the call came like pretty quickly, right? The guy had king X, so the guy didn't have like some bullshit hand. And it was 4 ways, right? 4 ways. That hand's not worth much money. So is it worth 0? I'm not sure. It's close. Is it worth less than 0? Maybe not. Is it worth substantially more than 0? Definitely not. Is it worth potentially substantially less than 0? You know, again, probably not, but it's possible. A half pot bets multi-way 4 ways, and then with the quick call, it just like that hand's just not worth a lot. So it's foldable. Seems like okay. So you can use some big bets here, I think. I like having a diamond in my hand here. I'm thinking about this. So this guy basically shoves 50. This actually seems close. I'm gonna fold though. I don't think this is like a spot that can be abused at all. I don't think this is like worth substantially more than 0. So it seems like it's like 0-ish, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. Can't be abused though, so find a fold and be tight. Rossi, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. So I'm just gonna read it off. Low stakes player from the UK. Been a seminar subscriber for the last 8 months, although yet to dip into a live one. Just wanted to say thank you for the content every week. You're welcome. The learning curve from the seminars is crazy. I appreciate you saying that and letting me read this. I'm currently a micro stakes player trying to build a roll. See, this is actually one of the questions people have, or statements. Yeah, more like a question. Like, you know, if I play at lower limits, are the seminars helpful? And the answer is obviously yes. Currently only playing $5 games under strict bankroll management. See? Helpful at lower limits. It's just helpful to know what the fuck to do. Doesn't matter if you're playing high stakes or low stakes, it's just helpful to know what to do. Here, like, I don't know what happened, but like I think we checked down to the river and I'll just bluff with something that's not ace high. And he's basically doing a call out to have people get in the seminars, which I doubly appreciate. To anyone on here, get into the seminars. That's him, not me. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so we can see bet paired boards here, I think. This goes raise 3-bet, so we're out. Yeah, versus the 2-bet, we're out. Not gonna be doing shit here. Too many people. Where do you see the future of poker in 4 to 5 years? I mean, people have been terrified of poker being like done in like this, like okay, so like the most logical answer is somewhere close to where it is right now. Like that's the most logical answer. I know it doesn't feel like the most logical answer because everyone always wants to be like the sky is falling. Like you should close your stable and you should stop taking risk and like you should stop playing poker and it's risky because there's AIs and there's people cheat and there's bots and yeah, but it's felt like that since I started playing. So. And I'm not exaggerating either. And it's like, well, it's more realistic now. Like the tools are better. Yeah. Like the damage that can be done by someone that's cheating has increased. There we go. 6s into 5s. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. So I mean, like what's the state of poker going to look like in 4 or 5 years? Probably very similar to what it looks like now. Obviously, the tools will be better. So that's not debatable. The tools will be better. And this is really close, but I think we're just folding here. And the detection for people cheating will also be better. Because the people always forget that, like, people think it's tempting. People think that problems like exist on their own, but the problems at the rate that they improve, like the way that the threats increase, like the other side, like the tools that are being utilized to combat those threats are also improving at a comparable rate. So, you know, the ability for like PokerStars or a GG Poker or a WPT or whoever the major site operator is, the ability for them to like detect cheating as a result of AI will improve over the next 4 or 5 years. And that's not debatable either. Just like it's not debatable that the tools will get better, it's not debatable that the tools for catching people cheating will get better. So, like, those are the things we know. We know that this is actually a really bad board when you 3-bet, so we will be checking. We're just going to show this down. Side face. I mean, it's possible this hand should double float, but I don't think it's going to be very good. So, like, I don't think it's going to be worth, like, substantially more than 0. So I have to make sure that I put enough other hands in the range that are strong enough to make sure that I'm not getting owned. I think it's close, though. I think it's like a mix. I think I should be using a solver and randomizing and calling sometimes. It's hard when you're streaming. It's like, you know, my mixing skill set goes down a little bit when I stream. It's okay. The mixing means that the EV is 0. So, like, the EV delta between the two options is 0. So, it's okay. It's okay. Be a little on the nittier side when we're streaming. It's all right. You know, obviously, if that gets predictable and there's a bunch of people watching, then, you know, it's a problem. But there's not that many people watching, so we're okay. My man Lieberman, what's going on, bro? It's been a little while. Appreciate you, bro. Octo Platypus, ABI $8 and seminars help tremendously. Thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. I still just can't do anything, right? Like, I just like this. I've had this stack for ages. Like, I just can't do anything. It's annoying, but that's like the PKO format. And when everyone covers you, they all have an incentive to play. Where does the EV come from when you steal? It comes from everyone folding. What happens if no one's going to fold? Well, then the EV gets destroyed. So, like, I feel like opening here is just not super economic. So, I'll fold. Just call here. And we bet one, check two. I feel like this should be like mostly big bet or check for Billin. Don't really feel like that's the right answer. Although I'm short, so maybe that's better. Yeah, we'll take a shot at a 2-bet. I mean, I would 2-bet here with a lot of Jack X, and this hand feels like a reasonable hand to 2-bet as an offset. I got asked if I was still fighting, so I think he said tanning, but Hold'em, I think he meant training, but that's cool, it's whatever. So lots of people don't have English as their first language, and sometimes I type and make a mistake, but I assume that you're not talking about tanning because I've never done tanning. But if you meant training, we're gonna fold this versus a 3-bet. Yeah, I'm still training. Yeah, I had to take recently. I had to take two months. Yeah, 2 months off because I sort of badly injured my neck. I was trying to like roll through, and the guy was like sort of heavy, and so like we were upside down and like going over my shoulder. And he put a lot of pressure, like diagonally, across my shoulder, and like I ended up tearing, like a lot of the muscles up into my neck and in the back of my shoulder. So I had to take 2 months off, but I actually returned to training, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, 1 or 2 weeks ago. So I'm just getting back. So normally for me, training looks like Muay Thai 1 day a week. Jiu-jitsu, anywhere from like 4 to like 10 or 11 hours a week, like 4 to 11 hours a week. Right now I'm doing like 1 hour of Muay Thai and like 3 hours of Jiu-jitsu or wrestling. Like, you know, I'll mix wrestling into, I'll go to wrestling classes as well. mean to fold there with 5-3 off pre, which wasn't a big deal.